Welcome back to the SCIF. I am Matt. I don't know. Can you see me, Stu? Is it too dark?
Very little.
You guys know that I'm sitting in the car down by the antenna. So we are the Green Beret Life. This is the SCIF. I am Matt. That is Stu. Thank you for joining us this week. We got a good show. What do we have on the docket, Stu?
There's been
Actually,
a
we're gonna wing this one because I sent some stuff to Stu. Stu has some of his own stuff, and we didn't communicate at all. So this is going
no,
to be
we've
an
been
interesting
we've been
show.
talking for the past 45 minutes, and absolutely none of it was about the show.
We've been
it was
bullshitting. So
it was everything
yeah,
else we haven't talked about in a week and a half or a week.
it keeps it interesting. All
Oh,
right,
Troy said it's the Dark Matt and Stu show.
there we go. There we go. So what do we got? What do we got tonight, Stu?
We've got
I need to
several
know
things.
because I don't know.
You don't know, yeah, surprise to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a third cartel boat that has been blown out of the water, with Venezuela complaining about their poor fishermen that are being killed at sea.
Yeah, that's what we're after. The fishermen, sure.
Okay. Yeah, they're fishermen.
Yeah.
A lot of today's stories are following up with the assassination and murder of Charlie Kirk, and how someone in the leftist sphere are reacting. And it is just, you wonder how some of these people have managed to not get themselves committed. They are so separated from reality. It's amazing. It's I don't understand how they've not wound up in a institution at some point.
Mm-hmm.
One of the good things, and I was, when I read this, I got to thinking back, and I remember we discussed this or brought up on one of the very, very first shows I did with you. It was when Chris was still on, but
Mm-hmm.
something called the Smith-Munt Act. This was an act that was repealed in the Obama era, and
Was it a
Trump is
vile?
looking to
Was
what's
it a
that?
vile act?
No.
Lewd?
It could have bordered on lascivious, maybe.
Okay. All right.
But this is an act that was repealed under Obama. Trump's looking to reinstitute it. We'll discuss that and what it means. Matt sent a couple of stories. The one about the Green Bay school district.
Yeah. It's more of a Wisconsin story, but Green Bay highlights it on what's going on here in Wisconsin. Yeah. It's these schools are being flooded with third world immigrants from Africa, from all over, primarily from Africa and the Middle East. And where are they coming from? And we're going to be in real trouble. This is like the heartland of Wisconsin, like central Wisconsin, from Green Bay to Fond du Lac, Oshkosh, those areas in central Wisconsin that are just being flooded with these third world immigrants. Where are they coming from? Who's bringing them in? Right? So you can't get answers. It's almost impossible. So the reason why this backpack thing is going on is allegedly one of these third worlders brought a gun to a high school, right? And now the solution, right, instead of, oh, maybe we should stop bringing third worlders in such mass numbers to these schools, is we're going to have clear backpacks. So I think it's just sort of indicative of the way the left deals with things and why they really don't deal with things. They're here intentionally stepping on the gas to destroy things. And right now they're
Well,
currently destroying central Wisconsin. Well, all of Wisconsin, really.
yeah. Well, the left takes the military approach to discipline. It's like, we're not going to punish the person that's screwing up. We're going to punish everybody. So we never solve the problem.
We're going to punish you. the American
Yeah.
taxpayer for believing in traditional American values, right?
Well, I remember there was more than one time I was in front of the headquarters, our entire squadron in full service dress blues at 6:30 a.m. on a Saturday because the same guy got another DUI. He had like three or four of them. It's like
Nice.
it's him. Why am
Well,
I out of bed at 6:30 on a Saturday?
at least he's consistent. They wanted you guys to do,
Yeah,
what do they call,
exactly.
what do they call in the Air Force, a code blue?
Yeah.
They call it for that for a couple reasons. We're in the Air Force, guys. Okay.
Then
What,
we've got the story out of Italy that you sent me with looks like Italy's erupting in riots with
third worlders?
pro-Palestinian protesters
Yeah.
upset that Italy doesn't recognize the Palestinian state or something to that effect.
It is that organization again rearing its ugly head for the free ejaculation of Palestine?
I think it's the Mormons protesting again.
There you go.
It's these Amish and the Italian Amish are protesting.
There you go. There you go. What else we got?
We've got another we've got another story that are they kind of link together. We've got a survey, a poll that Rasmussen did concerning the Charlie Kirk's murder, and I've got another couple of stories that quickly tie into it. And we've also got the results of the the trial, the individual that was the second attempt on Donald Trump's life. We've got
Yep.
the
The bum who's jet setting around the world, in Iran and the Middle East, signing up fighters to go and fight the Russians in Ukraine. Yeah,
yeah.
this nobody that was in trouble with the law, moved from North Carolina to Hawaii and is somehow a bum, but he flies all over the world. There's just so many weird things out there, Stu. This Charlie
There
Kirk,
is.
the
It's
Charlie Kirk thing is now going pear shaped in like the biggest way, as far as this identifying exactly what really happened, right? So, boy, it's you just don't get a straight answer on anything.
what
On
do you mean?
anything.
I haven't seen any of the. What do you mean going pear shaped? What's happened? That I
Well,
haven't seen anything.
now they're talking and they're showing some credible evidence that he was shot from behind, and that's an exit wound that you're seeing. And there are some slow still frames that, boy, it's dude, it's so hard to explain when you see these things. I mean,
Mm,
it looks like something is entering the right rear of his head and it's exiting the left front of his throat, because that entry hole looks so damn big. If it was an entry hole, that's why they were saying maybe he was wearing you know a low profile chest plate, and it maybe just caught the corner and expanded and then went in. But
mm,
some of this new video, and then there is apparently uh, one of the buildings behind the tent. There is somebody. It's grainy as shit, but it looks like a person in a tree. You know what I mean? On a build, like not a naturally growing tree, but like a bush up in a building. You know what I mean?
mm.
It's really really weird, and you've got all sorts of, who did it. You've got Candace Owens out there basically blaming the Israelis, which, look, I'm open to almost anything, but that makes very little sense to me. Very little sense, right?
Yeah,
Uh, to Why would they do that? And if they did it, why would they do it in such a public? I mean, it's so stupid.
yeah. Some stuff is just like it. You have to go back and say how does that serve your purpose? And
Yeah.
I don't see how it would possibly.
This is one thing I think we talked about this a little bit before. Everybody's like Netanyahu, because everybody knows Netanyahu is basically the leader of Israel, right?
Yes.
He's the prime minister. He's right, and you know that every year they go after him. There's these re-elections and everything else. They're trying to go after Netanyahu. Well, knowing what the intelligence apparatus here in the United States is like and how infested it is with deep state actors and everything else, why wouldn't it be the same in Israel? Right?
Oh,
So
I'm sure it is.
why would it be Netanyahu? Right? It's so stupid. And I hear people that, oh, we've got good anonymous sources that say that Trump is afraid of assassination from Netanyahu. Do you know how much bullshit that is on the face of it? I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm open to look at almost anything. Okay, but uh, if there were bad actors involved in this stuff coming out of the Middle East, it would be the deep state within their intelligence apparatus, right? That's where it would be coming from. You
Well,
know,
that's funny because that ties into one of the stories, and actually we can start with that one. Um, Let me find it here. So, what the Smith-Mundt Act is, it's an act out of the 1940s that prohibited the U.S. government from targeting Americans with propaganda. So
hmm
basically, your government couldn't spend tax dollars to target its citizens with propaganda. And this act had been in effect since 1948 until Obama came into office and he repealed the act.
and
So
we've gotten nothing but propaganda from the mainstream media since. And it's no
yeah,
coincidence that you're seeing these shows finally getting pulled off the air that have never had viewership
well, as
once
soon as like
USAID and
USAID
stuff like
gets
that.
canceled,
Yep,
or gets
yep.
canceled, gets reeled in, yeah, all these shows like, well, how, like, even look at Jimmy Kimmel, who's the darling of the left at the moment, had freaking abysmal viewership
They
ratings,
were
but
saying he
they
was
act
getting
as
like
though he's a
a
paragon of the
million
left and they all
viewers.
adore him.
Yeah, he was getting like a million viewers a
I don't even
night.
think it was that.
I mean, whatever it was terrible, right? There's YouTube channels that blow him out of the water, right? And yeah, so go ahead, Stu. I didn't mean to
No, no,
talk over you.
I was just looking here. What was it in the key demo?
The 18 to 30,
18 to 35 or something,
yeah,
18 to
34
54.
or 54.
He
Okay.
averaged 260,000 viewers.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. How could that show stay on the air? And he's making millions of dollars a year.
And all
Really?
right, that's the viewership that he did. All right, Kimmel production cost.
You're not going to get that number, I don't think.
Let's see. The annual cost for Jimmy Kimmel Live is expected to be around $100 million.
Oh, really?
Yes. See, in contrast, a 2024 analysis indicated the show's revenue was approximately 70 million, suggesting it operated at an annual loss of 10 to 40 million dollars.
Wait a second. With those kind of viewership, how are they generating 70 million USAID? Allegedly,
Well, it was
right?
saying ad revenue, so people buying ads for the show. So where
Bullshit.
you're right, where does that
Bullshit.
money come from?
They sold 70 million ads
Well, that's what I'm
for
saying.
viewership
Where's
like
that
that.
money for the ads come from?
Yeah.
But Troy said most of Jimmy's viewers were old people who fell asleep watching the news.
That's exactly right. They
Yeah,
fall asleep
and that's a
watching the
very good
news
point.
and leave the TV on. He's 100% on point there.
But just taking at face value, this thing lost the company between 10 and 40 million dollars a year.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it's not.
And how many
I don't
years?
get it.
How many years was he on? I mean, over a
Um,
decade. over a decade.
Yeah, he's been on for a long time. Yeah, he earned $15 million a year, or $88,000 per episode.
So let's get into this Smith month act.
Yeah,
Does it have a chance of being reinstated?
it very possibly could. Let me bring up the screen
Isn't it
here.
funny? Under the Obama administration is when it gets repealed. That's great. Yeah.
So yeah, it prohibits the U.S. Agency for Global Media from targeting Americans with taxpayer-funded propaganda. Investigative journalist Michael Schellenberger has reported on how the CIA and other intelligence organizations have historically infiltrated the news media, placing stories that advanced U.S. State Department policies.
Operation Mockingbird, Color
Yes.
Revolution. Those are the two things you need to understand right there.
Yep. Senator Lee, who's the one that has basically brought this back to the forefront, he argued that until 2013, it was illegal to target American citizens with propaganda. In 2013, these protections were taken away. My legislation restores this safeguard under the name of an American martyr for freedom of speech, Charlie Kirk. Lee's legislation would prevent the U.S. AGM, which is an apparatus of the State Department, from using the media it produces from influencing the American people. And so they were taking this media group whose job it was to produce propaganda to influence, things around the world, and turning it around and using it against the American people. We have enough propaganda from other countries coming in with China and TikTok,
If
and
if I remember correctly, this went through Congress, and I think Republicans were in charge of the House and the Senate in 2013. That's insane.
yeah. Well, and Trump's got a point here, and we've talked about it before. The legacy media of Trump has been 97% negative, and that's I don't care if you like him or not, if you liked Obama or not. There were things, very few, but there were things that Obama did that I'm like, okay, that seems like the right thing to do in that circumstance. But
Name one of those things,
well,
Stu.
I can't off the top of my head. I'm trying to be generous here.
Because I can't. I can't. I'm trying to
But
be generous.
I'm sitting here
Don't
with
be
Trump
generous.
and saying, everything that Trump has done, and it's been 97% negative, the reporting. And that's not saying
He's done things
it's
like get illegals out of the country, stop
right.
crime, bring business back into the country, stop wars. Yeah, this
Yeah.
negative, because these people. Yeah, I mean we've said it
Yep.
before. You can't hate them
97%
enough.
negative.
You can't hate them enough.
And like we were talking about, Matt, that guy that killed Kirk, he's heard nothing but this mainstream media since he was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Talking about how
did you
everybody are
did,
Nazis, and
did you see Keith Olbermann threaten Scott Jennings?
don't jump the gun. We got this.
Yeah.
We got this.
I didn't hear it in the
Um,
pre, but it sort of plays into this whole thing that we're
it,
talking
it
about
does,
right
and
now.
those are the two of the other stories I have or actually three with this. The next one that rolls up is this one here. 54% of liberals call Kirk's killing understandable.
These are demons we're up against, folks. We're up against
Just
fucking
over
demons.
half of America's liberal voters and 40% of registered Democrats believe the assassination of Turning Point USA CEO Charlie Kirk was understandable. 54% of liberal voters believe that the conservative leader trafficked in hateful rhetoric and therefore viewed his murder as understandable.
Do you see how
His
effective?
hateful
Do you see
rhetoric
how
was
effective the
he
mainstream media
disagreed.
Do you see how effective the mainstream media propaganda is? Because
Yeah.
he was none of those things, and these people, none of them have heard him speak. None of them have heard him speak. Charlie Kirk was a freaking moderate. He was a moderate, and he was What his real danger was is he was able to reach college age and high school, primarily boys.
He was
So
effective. That was
yes,
his that was his
he was
danger. He was
he was
effective.
effective at reaching college age and high school boys and deprogramming them, or getting them
Yes.
to deprogram themselves.
Or
Right?
getting them to think about what they were saying. You
Yep.
could see when someone got up in front of the mic and they got through the surface level 4 or 5 talking points that they had, and Charlie Kirk started to ask them questions about, well, why this? Why this way about that? And they had nothing because they were taught what to think and not how to think. And he was teaching them how to think critically about things, how to,
Well,
dissect
Stu,
arguments.
Stu, if you look at the effort and the money that has taken years and years and years to put the apparatus in place in our education system, from when kids are little all the way up through college, it has been nothing but an indoctrination organization. That's what it is. And these kids are programmed from a very early age, all the way. That's why you had eighth grade classes allegedly cheering over in Wayzata, Minnesota, and across the country, and teachers going and openly celebrating, making TikTok posts and videos about them, right? But you have this apparatus that's been put in place, right, by the powers that be that want to get us into this one world government. They have to destroy first, right? And the
Yeah.
years and the money and the time in order to get that thing going. And then you have a kid basically comes along and he's reversing that for at least, a huge percentage
Oh
of
yeah,
the,
he was making a
yeah,
difference. Absolutely.
yeah. So young people went for Trump in the last election. That just put a huge target on him. And now we've got this mess with this dude. There's a bunch of things that don't make sense about taking the gun apart, putting it back together, and leaving the screwdriver on so many things don't make sense about this whole thing already, right? From the wound as well. And not going to sit here. I know there's a lot of people armchair quarterbacking saying they think what's going on. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I can tell
Yeah.
you something doesn't seem cut and dry, black and white to me. You
Well, we
know?
were talking about the text messages the other day. Is
Oh, those were goofy as hell.
Yeah, those seem as though they were staged to distance the
Hmm.
roommate slash boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever they were,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
separate them from it with the, oh my goodness, that wasn't you, was it? Oh heavens to Betsy. It's like,
yeah,
I'm not sure how much I'm buying that.
yeah. Bullshit. Bullshit. So,
But to follow this with these liberals with this view that Charlie Kirk was racist and hateful and misogynist and a phobe and a ist and a whatever, we get over here because you remember what the tweets and stuff that were coming out leading up to Charlie Kirk, and oh, there's something going to happen today. Well, it's going to be a good day.
yeah.
We've
People
got
blatantly
Keith
saying he was
Oberman
going to get
here.
obliterated. People were saying
Yeah,
he was going to get obliterated, right?
we've got Keith Oberman here who was talking to
Scott Jennings.
Scott Jennings, talking about your next motherfucker, keep mugging to the camera.
Yep.
And of course,
And then he erases the tweet, right? And
yes,
then brings back another one trying to make it sound like he was talking and he's going to get fired.
right, yeah. And
Why
it's
would he
like,
get
why would
fired?
Scott Jennings get fired?
Yeah, he's the only guy bringing any viewership to CNN. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's so much
But so
bullshit.
it's and this right here, Oberman's do is the one of the other YouTubers that I watched, he explained it in a very clear way what they're doing. What they'll do is they'll have one person, you know, post a list of conservatives. And then another person will be like, yeah, there are some people out there that should be done away with. And then a third person would come up and be like, yeah, so and so, I hope you have a good day tomorrow. I know where you're going to be.
Hmm.
But when you put all three of them together, that's an explicit death threat.
Yeah.
But because there's three different people saying it, it's not a threat. None of them individually are a threat that can be one person can be arrested or prosecuted for. So that's what they're doing. They're doing the splitting it into 2 and 3 and 4 parts so that
Well,
no one person
well,
is putting a threat out.
I think you could also add an additional crime, conspiracy, to that, right? If you were joining together to make a threat, that's you're
It's
conspiring.
possible.
But but what he said is a straight on threat. You're next,
Yes.
motherfucker, right?
Well,
And everybody knows what he meant by that. Now he's trying to say he meant his. That makes no sense. Then why did you erase your original tweet when you were called
yeah.
out on it and put another one up? It's all
So
bullshit. This guy's a lunatic. He's an absolute lunatic, and it just shows he's indicative of what these radical leftists are like. And believe me, it's a mental illness.
so we go from Keith Oberman, who is a failed talk show host,
Sports,
news reader,
sports,
whatever.
sports, and then political commentary.
So he's a failed political commentator, and we go from Keith Urban to the governor of California's office, who tweeted out about Kristi Noem.
Who's
Kristi
just a
Noem's
fit,
going to have a bad day today. You're welcome, America.
and this is with he's talking about the demasking, which they're trying to get all of the ICE agents doxxed. That's what they're trying to do.
Oh, right.
Uh,
But they
yeah,
came out with that after the fact. This
yep,
is the tweet they put out, and then they backpedaled, going, "Oh no, no, we were talking about this here," hours later.
yeah,
And it's like, no, this is exactly what was being said about Charlie Kirk, and they know that.
hmm, hmm,
They know this. They're not stupid.
no,
They're evil, but they're not stupid. They know these were the tweets that were going around.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that guy out there is an absolute disaster. He thinks that he's a legitimate presidential candidate. People in California allegedly are starting to rally behind him when he has completely screwed the people of California. He destroyed San Francisco first. Now he's destroying the whole state. The Malibu fires, where those fires happened, they're putting
Yeah.
they remember Trump went out there and they fast tracked the federal permits. They got all of those, and he was trying to put pressure on Karen Bass and the state of California to make sure those people's permits got approved. They're not approved. And guess what they're doing? They're going to build low income housing right
Yep.
on
Low
that
income, high
prime.
density housing, aka a ghetto.
Yes. 15-minute cities, anybody? Right?
Yep.
Government takes over the come on. This is insane. So
Kind of reeks of
this
what happened in Hawaii, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Another thing we'll never get the answers to. We'll never get
Yeah.
the answers to Lahaina. We'll never get the answers to Las Vegas. It doesn't seem like we're ever going to get the answers to both of the that we know of attempts on President Trump's life, and now this whole Charlie Kirk thing.
Yeah,
This
because
is nuts.
what have you heard? What news has come out from the one in Pennsylvania?
No,
Absolutely nothing.
absolutely nothing. And you're starting to see a modus operandi, right? So going back to Las Vegas, the brother started to speak, and then he was hammered with child porn charges. So nobody can speak
Yep.
to him, right?
Yep.
So this guy at the Charlie Kirk deal, I've heard all different sorts of stories that he was at 9/11 and all this. I don't know if I believe that. I have to see more proof of that, right? But this
Yeah.
guy who was
Yeah.
standing up saying, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me, they bust him on child porn, right? So nobody can speak to him. Here we go again. It's the same, it's like boilerplate, you know? So they're really starting to throw a bunch. I think that this dipshit had something to do with it that they've got. And I think the whole tranny crew around him had something to do with it because of the comments, previously. There's another organization out there that seems to have a lot of intimate knowledge on this, and their symbol are two 30-06 rounds, right? And it's called like Queers with Guns or something of Utah, Armed Queers of Utah, something like that, right?
Mm.
And they had to take down they took down everything because it was starting to get noticed, right? So there is a lot to this. And if we know anything, if you go back to the John F. Kennedy and look at any of them, Robert F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, look at all of these, right?
Yeah.
With there's always a patsy and somebody that you think did it, right? The first Trump assassination attempt, that dude was on the roof to do exactly what happened. He was there to die, right? Is he the one that took the shots? We don't know. We don't know. And I don't think the rifle he an optic on it. It would have been with
Who's
iron
that?
sights. The one in Butler. I don't.
Um.
And then they came in and cleaned the site, and then cremated his body. Nobody's talked to anybody in his family,
Oh yeah, they were
right?
pressure watching the roof. Remember?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then we were just talking about this other guy who was convicted today. How was this idiot running all over the world allegedly in Iran recruiting fighters for Ukraine? This
Yeah.
freaking moron. It's not even in his wheelhouse. And apparently he was voting in North Carolina when he lived in Hawaii,
Why?
right? And wasn't it established that they had the same police chief in Las Vegas that was down in Hawaii when the fire went down?
Uh, I
Yeah.
do remember something about that. I think that is true.
This is too weird. It's too stupid to
It's
be
like the,
stupid.
the 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 Matrix is glitching. You know,
Yeah.
you
It's
expect
too
to see the,
stupid
the the
to be
black
stupid.
cat twice. It's just there's a glitch.
We have any comments on this? I'm sure somebody in the audience is going to have some clarification on this. I'm either full
Yeah,
of
well,
shit on
they
these
were
things or
talking
it's
about JG says Keith Olbermann's an angry old man who is part mentally ill and part liberal brain virus.
yeah,
They were talking about the CIA and the Munt Act, and Freedom was talking about Joanna Mendez, a former CIA chief of disguise. She's married to the man portrayed in Argo. Um,
really,
yeah, yeah,
really.
Troy agrees. Oberman's batshit that he's a grade A loony.
Yeah,
Yeah, JG agrees with you. Gavin Newsom being the worst governor in the U.S.
he
and
absolutely is.
Freedom's talking about Waltz being the goofball in Minnesota. And there's apparently an interview today where Kamala was throwing him under the bus.
Really,
Yeah,
really.
for like his meltdown in the VP debate. I saw, and I'll apologize. I was guilty of perusing the headline. I didn't read the story because it had Kamala Harris and Tim Waltz, and I just really don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I just
exactly.
thought it was pretty funny.
Glad hands, and the dimwit.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
well, it's really rich. Kamala saying throwing him under the bus.
yeah,
The 60 Minutes got sued because she couldn't answer a basic question, and they had to cut and paste from other parts of the interview
yes.
to make it sound like she had a coherent thought.
And that's one of the lawsuits Trump. I think that's one of the ones he's
He
won,
won.
or maybe that's
Yeah, he
one.
has. They settled.
Did he?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But
And he's
Freedom did say that yes, the same police chief in Vegas and Hawaii.
yeah. That I mean, this is too stupid to be stupid. Too
And
stupid to be
it's
stupid.
like, how is there no information that comes out about these? I don't. I
Why aren't there massive congressional investigations?
yeah,
Why isn't there a special counsel appointed? You know,
something.
I have a feeling over the next 3 years we're going to get a lot of answers. I don't think we're going to get all the answers, but I think we're going to get a lot of
Well,
answers.
you know as well as I do, the government hides behind classification and national
Mhm.
security interests.
Mhm.
Everything that could possibly reflect poorly on someone, oh, that's classified. That's
Yeah.
national security.
And
That's
then
whatever.
if they're forced to show what was previous, when they declassify, they redact everything that's in it, so you can't make head nor tails of it anyways.
Right. Yeah. It's disgusting is what it is.
Yeah.
Because granted, there are things that should be classified. I'm not arguing that there is not, but it is not to the extent that they take it to protect their wrongdoing and criminal activities. It
Mhm.
just is not. Um,
Mhm.
but the other stories we were talking about, those just all kind of tied in and flowed in together. So I just kind of went with it. The you had Do you want to talk about your Italy story that you sent me with the pro Palestinian
Oh, we
demonstrators in Italy?
basically, we sort of touched on it already. This is indicative of what's going on throughout Europe. Europe has been flooded. We go back to the letter that Viktor Orban released that was written by George Soros and the Open Society Foundation back in 2015, where basically he laid out his plan for Europe, where they were going to flood Europe with 1 million immigrants a year, right? And which, if you read the paper, I haven't read it, but I've heard points from the paper. It's almost identical to what's going on in Europe right now, right? And you're starting to see the Europeans kick back here recently. But Italy has been flooded with migrants, primarily from Africa, right? Muslim migrants from Africa. And I know when Maloney came in, part of what she was elected for was to stop it. But remember, we talk about this whole deep state, and she was stopped, right? I think her intentions were to do that, and she was stopped. And they continue to flood immigrants into Italy. In fact, there's been a lot of Chinese companies buying Italian companies, right? I believe Pirelli, I might be wrong on this, was purchased by the Chinese, and there's other things. And what they'll do, so if a Chinese company buys an Italian company, allegedly, what they do is they boot out all the Italians making the shit, and they'll import a bunch of Chinese slave labor, right? And they'll make the products there in Italy utilizing Chinese slave labor, and then you get a made in Italy product, right? So it's all bullshit. So basically, what's going on in Europe right now is the deep state who have put these migrants, these third world migrants that are not compatible with the existing population in these European countries, the native population. They're not compatible. That's why they're being put there. And they are there just like their job here is to cause chaos. And they're over there causing chaos. And I believe the cover story is Palestinians, Palestinians, right? Philippians. What does Salty Cracker call them? But anyways, um, but that's what the cover is, and that's an excuse for them to go out and basically tear down shit and destroy Italian culture and ruin what was once great. All of Europe is ruined. All of Europe is ruined. They're turning all of Europe into a third world shithole, and we weren't far behind them with what they were doing here. I mean,
Yeah.
they flooded under the Biden administration. Different numbers come in, but allegedly between 20 and 30 million people were flooded into this country, none of which we knew who they were, bringing in illnesses that we'd pretty much eradicated in our country years and years ago, and we're supporting them with the taxpayer dollar. So they're basically destroying our safety net, to give illegals who shouldn't be here all the benefits that they shouldn't be getting. and they're continuing to do it. And this kind of ties into the Green Bay and Wisconsin story that I was talking about, because allegedly these school districts are getting flooded with third world immigrants that don't even speak English, right? In these rural Wisconsin towns. How are they getting? This is my question. How are they getting there? Who's funding all of this, right? And why is this not blared out news? I mean, small news channels are covering it, but why is this not getting more attention than what it's
Yeah,
getting?
why doesn't it get more traction? And like you said, that's the thing is these people are supposedly from impoverished third world countries that make $30 a year, and that, well, how are you getting from your impoverished third world mud hut where you
Uh-huh.
make 12 cents a day? How are you funding travel to the United States into the middle of Wisconsin with a
Yeah.
job and an apartment and a vehicle and food and clothing? And how does that happen?
Yeah. And it's funny you said apartment, because most of them are getting houses, dude. They're
You
getting
know,
houses and
yeah,
townhomes. Yep.
fair point.
So, and these immigrants are coming over here, right, and having multiple kids. I think I heard somebody say, and this is allegedly, and I don't have the, but I think the average Somali family in or Somali woman has 4 kids in Minneapolis, right?
Well, I mean,
uh
I'll tell you,
that's
whenever I was, you know, having, we were talking about having children and having kids and all of this, it was, you know, how many children can I have and be able to provide for?
correct, and
But
be
they don't
able
care.
to provide
That is
for,
not a factor in their equation because
because you're
someone
providing
else
for
will.
theirs. Yeah, you're
Right.
providing for their kids. And this
Exactly.
is and this is insane. We're going to lose, everything if we don't do what needs to be done. And illegals that shouldn't be here. People that came here the right way, yeah, but guess what? You don't come here to get the handouts, right? There should be legislation saying immigrants do not get welfare. Period. Amen.
No, no.
If you can't come here and bring something to this country, why do we want you here? If you can't be a producer into this country, why would we bring you into our country? You know?
Well,
And
again, and it's different now, but before this mass immigration started, 10 years or so ago, that you weren't going over into Germany or England or somewhere else, and if you were immigrating to there, you were bringing something to the country. You were a net positive, you know, to the community. It wasn't this, yeah, come on over here and we'll take the money that we put aside for our citizens and give it to you instead, who
yeah,
can do nothing. You have no skills that correlate to the community that you're in.
dude, how many years
It
have you
just
been paying
it's
How many years have you been paying Social Security? How many years?
well, I've been working since I was 15, so 35 years.
So 35 years, your work savings plan, which is what Social Security is basically supposed to be,
Yeah.
right? It's garbage. So somebody from the third world comes over here, and they can't work because they're old or whatever. They go right on Social Security and start taking your money. So by the time you get to that age that you need that Social Security money that you put in, you ain't going to get it, because
There's
Social
nothing there.
Security's going broke. So I
They
mean,
keep talking about, the Democrats will pound the chest. Or the Republicans are trying to take away Social Security. The Democrats gave that shit away a decade ago. There's
yeah,
nothing there
even
to give
more.
away.
Yeah. But you come over from some third world country, and then for some reason you can't work, you go on Social Security.
No, you can
That's
go for a third
insane.
world country. For some reason, you can't work. You go the fuck back home and let your country take care of you.
Exactly. And that's the way we have to be as Americans. And I'm getting sick of this bullshit guilt trip. We're supposed to guilt trip ourselves into the third world. We don't take
Yes,
care of this
absolutely.
country,
It's
we're going to
not
be a
fair,
third
Matt.
world country. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit.
Well, we got a few things where Freedom was talking about Trump at the United States, giving them an earful
Oh, the
about hitting
UN.
them hard
At
on
the UN.
immigration and climate change.
Not the United States, the UN.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was what I meant. He had UN. That was what I meant.
Yep.
United Nations. Um, hit them hard on immigration and climate change.
He
And
absolutely did. He
Douglas
clowned
over
them.
on YouTube, we were talking about the Pennsylvania shooting. The guy had a red dot with no magnifier, was what he
Oh,
was
he did.
using.
He had a
And I
red dot
remembered
up
he had
there.
an optic, but I didn't think it was magnified, but I couldn't remember exactly. But as soon as he said it, it clicked and reminded me.
Yeah.
And JG saying to keep your third world problems in the third world and keep your politics focused on trying to integrate into society.
Exactly.
And that's that's the way immigration used to be. And then we decided, hey, anybody, everybody, if you get in here, chain migration, bring in grandma and grandpa who
This was Ted Kennedy who did this. Ted
uh,
Kennedy. Yep.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yes it
nuts.
was.
Absolutely nuts. No. What other stories we
So
got, Stu?
yeah, it kind of circles back around to Charlie Kirk again. This just goes to show, like we were talking about, how completely divorced from reality a lot of these left wing ideologues are. There was the huge thing they had for Charlie Kirk, the memorial, the turning
Mhm.
point deal that
It
they
was
had going.
massive.
It was a
Yeah, in
huge
Arizona,
event
massive.
at the stadium. Well,
Yeah,
one of Matt's favorite people, and as far as Matt's concerned, this guy is a prophet. He is just
I can't wait to hear this. Who? Who? Who?
he's
Who?
on it. It's
Oh,
Don Lemon,
oh yeah, Don Lemon. Yeah,
Don Lemon.
yeah.
They were talking about he lashed out at the Christian message again. Charlie Kirk was an unashamed, unabashed Christian. He was upfront about it and would speak on it at all times. But he lashed out at the Christian messaging and worship songs at a memorial. This is his freaking funeral service. And he's lashing out about Christian messaging and worship songs and said speakers only quoted biblical scripture because they were demanding submission.
What?
Okay. This is a
What?
memorial service for an outspoken, unabashed, unashamed Christian, and the left is bashing the fact that they were being Christian.
Well, you're seeing people in this country. We've always said it here. We are the majority. This is a very loud vocal minority when you see that they've got the propaganda through the mainstream media that makes them look like they're a lot larger than what they are. They are a small, but they are nuts. They are radical anti-Christian. What's with the LGBT community and their radical, just radical, hateful anti-Christian rhetoric that comes from that whole freaking community, right?
You
And it
know,
kind of
the
it
there
kind of
was
shows you
and I
why they live the lifestyles they do, right?
I forget where I heard it, but
And I'm
maybe
talking about. Hold on, I gotta clarify that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not talking about just regular gay people because I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this radical trans, leftist, Marxist, trans Tifa ideology is what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Not regular normal gay people, and I'm sure mainstream gay people can't stand these people either, because it's throwing everybody under that whole umbrella, you know.
Uh, uh, JG says Don Lemon is pure antichrist, and Troy
Yeah.
said Lemon is mad because he knows he's going to hell.
Oh, shit.
But you know, it amazes me, and like I said, just the completely divorced from reality. So you're upset and just spitting mad because an unabashed Christian memorial for a man who was assassinated in front of his family for wanting to speak to people, that speakers quoted scripture and there were worship and songs and Christian messaging at his memorial. That is what has you spun out of shape. And this is the same guy. I think it wasn't he sued for basically fondling people in bars, walking up to
Yes,
men and
it was
grabbing their junk.
some
I
dude in a
mean,
bar. He basically grabbed his shit, and I think try to stick his finger somewhere, right?
yeah.
Use
But
your use your
this is the
imagination.
person that we're supposed to
Allegedly.
care.
Yeah.
We're supposed to care that he is upset that a Christian had a memorial where they dared to have a memorial. I guess it's like
Yeah. Yeah. He's
ridiculous,
he's irrelevant. He's trying to make
straight
himself relevant.
trash.
Just
No,
like that Destiny dipshit. He's ruined.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Last week we talked
yeah,
about him. Yep,
yeah.
but he
So
ties right back in to the story we talked about, the percentage of people. There are
mhm.
people that believe that the left has mastered the tell a lie enough times it becomes the truth.
Well, they
People
have to
believe it.
tell a
They have
lie. They have to
mastered
tell
that.
a lie about Charlie Kirk. They have to. They
Yeah,
have to. And now they're going to go out and they all know this is a 100% lie. Jimmy Kimmel, that he was a MAGA, and they buy into this, that they have to put a Trump shirt on him through Photoshop, and they're out there.
yeah.
They're idiots are out there using this on social media, not knowing that that's a Photoshop shirt. Even
I don't know, Matt.
even
I think some of them do know it, but they don't care because
yeah,
as long as
they
Granny
can push
sees it,
the narrative. Yeah.
yeah. As long as people that don't know that and aren't critical of it, all it does is reinforce
Their
their perception,
stereotype. But
their
that's
preconceived
who I was
notions.
talk that's who I was talking about. The rubes that
Yeah,
buy the fact they see him in a Trump. See, he's MAGA. Da, da, da.
yeah,
Those are the idiots that they're pushing to go out and spread the narrative, right?
yep,
but but yeah, and they're the same idiots that have never heard anything Charlie Kirk says, but because they hear that repeated over, he was a bigot, he was a racist. I don't know if you saw Ilhan Omar go on CNN over the weekend. It was absolutely disgusting. And she
what was
just,
it? One more
not
time.
anything, she was talking about Charlie Kirk and talking about what a hateful individual he was. And I mean, she just doubled down and tripled down. And
Who
even
was this?
Caitlin, Ilhan Omar, and even
Oh,
Caitlin
Jesus.
Collins is trying to push back on her over it. But just
What,
she just
Caitlin
kept,
Collins was?
yes, it was so bad.
Wow.
You ought to go and look at the video, because she was making Caitlin Collins uncomfortable with the rhetoric coming out of her mouth. And this woman is she's a freaking, she's illiterate in everything. Okay, history. When she starts to talk about history, and she knows nothing about any of it. When she first got in
Yeah,
Congress, she would read from a little script that they gave her, and she'd have that smart ass smile when she like, and she doesn't know a damn thing about what she's reading. She goes on
yeah.
TV, lies 100% of the time, and then uh just continues to double down on the lies. And she doesn't understand even the history that she tries to pack in with those lies. Then
No,
a video comes out of her in Minneapolis at this big Somali rally, where they're all bragging that she doesn't represent the United States, she doesn't represent the American people, she represents Somalia. That's who she represents. And they're all there cheering all of this on. They're speaking Somali. Yeah. And this is, they, liberal dumbasses, mostly women, will vote for her over and over and over again. They're voting for their own destruction because
Yeah.
Minnesota's almost gone and they're trying to do it in Wisconsin. That's why we brought up that story before. There's a reason why they're flooding Muslim third world immigrants into Wisconsin. There's a reason. And they know that they're not going to be, they're flooding them into the schools. They don't speak English. Who's going to be the people that suffer from that? The
Yep.
students whose parents are
The
paying the
students that are there
taxes.
because
Yeah, to send them to that
yep.
school. So
Now the last story we have here, we talked about it briefly. The third cartel boat obliterated by the U.S. Navy that had over 2,000 pounds of cocaine aboard,
I,
and
I, I
this
thought I
was
thought I thought Maduro said it was a fishing ship.
well, maybe they were using the cocaine as bait for the
Oh,
fish.
maybe,
I mean, seen
maybe.
cocaine bear, it could have been cocaine tuna. I don't
There
know.
you go. There you go. Yeah.
But this was a the U.S. worked in conjunction with the Dominican Republic on some of this, but Venezuela has strongly objected to the strikes, deploying its own naval forces and readying a
Uh-oh.
militia
Look
to
out.
potentially respond to the U.S. presence in the Caribbean.
Look out.
Venezuelan dictator Maduro has also made public threats to the U.S., saying that the deployment was an outlandish, bizarre threat of a declining empire.
Yeah. Yeah. His declining empire, right?
And
Uh
the here you go, Matt. This is the quote. This wasn't from Venezuela. This was the Colombian president Gustavo Petro also objected to the strike, saying people on board the vessel were poor young people and not the big narcos.
transporting
This is
our
coming from
cocaine.
Colombia, the world's largest export of cocaine.
Yeah, and now you see it's brilliant actually what's going on because how does Maduro stay in power? Because the oil industry there, which was once thriving, is in an absolute mess, right?
Yeah,
People are eating zoo animals and rats in the street, right? And how was he keep it's kind of like USAID funding everything. How was he keeping his dictatorship afloat, his communist dictatorship afloat? Ah,
narco
selling
state.
drugs, selling drugs. Yeah. And he can't sell his drugs anymore. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Guess who's not long as a leader in Venezuela? Maduro. So, yeah, I love it. I love it. Keep sinking their drug ships. Then they're going to be scared shitless to go out. I mean, holy shit. They either have people that are really stupid or with a lot of balls to go hauling ass on one of those drug
Or
running boats.
again, hate to say it,
Maybe a
or
gun to their
extremely
head.
desperate, but
Yeah.
you know,
No.
can't no we can't allow it. I mean, with all the fentanyl,
Nope.
it just it
Nope.
has to be stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't even have to full on go to war with these organizations. What you have to do is destroy their money source.
Yep.
Destroy their money source. So believe me, this is hurting him in so many ways, and I think they've got him boxed in. So just eventually, it's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. Communism can't stand on its own; it collapses.
No.
So,
No.
anyways,
Well,
well, was that the last story? Do we have any comments we need to catch up with before we sign
yeah,
off?
we've got a couple here. Troy said that Lemon was all flustered about religious nationalism. That was what he was saying. That it was, it should have been a separation of church and state because Trump was there. And it's like, piss
Yeah.
off.
Okay. Yeah. Uh,
Um,
we're like anybody gives a shit what Don Lemon has to say. He
yes,
had an underperforming show on CNN, and now he's his own little
and
podcaster,
that's
and
and
nobody watches his podcast.
that's saying a lot. If you've got an underperforming show on CNN,
Yeah.
that's a low ass bar.
No shit.
Um,
Yep.
JG was saying that Ilhan Omar's family was part of the slave trade.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm there. the whole family's corrupt. The whole family's crooked. Pretty much that whole part of the world is, well, I don't even have to say
Oh,
anymore.
it's a what was it? To use Donald Trump's term, a shithole? Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
it is.
it gives shitholes a bad name. So
And he also said that Venezuela is a banana republic.
mhm.
Troy said the poor young traffickers now they're fish food.
Yeah, yeah, there they
And
are. Oh,
I said
that's what they meant by fishermen. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and I
Now
said
it
the
makes
fish got
sense.
to eat just like the worms.
Yep.
But he's worried about the fish having a
Well,
hankering for coke. So that
those I
is
was going to say those sharks are having a party.
cocaine shark.
Yeah, cocaine and
That's
meat.
Well,
Uh,
that's it. We appreciate everybody on. We've had several viewers stick with us on YouTube. We've got the guys that have stuck with us over here on Rumble. We absolutely appreciate the support and the viewership and the participation. Like Matt always says, you guys always have the answers to the questions we can't quite pull out of our brains. Somebody has it in the audience and tosses it up
absolutely.
to keep us going.
Absolutely. Hey, we appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate you guys being patriots. Live in freedom every day, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us.
See you next week.